players as well as tourism aspect. In fact, we also added another aspect, the family entertainment, which we hope that can bring in a lot of visitors as well. So it's not another integrated resort. We added some new variety of entertainment.
If I were to add to what Armin is saying, I think I don't think when you yourself said it, Ben, when Resorts World opened, the market grew. With Soler open, market didn't grow. So what are the expectations for City of Dreams? We did quite a bit of study against City of Dreams because I was still part of the operation till very recently. I don't think it's a fair comparison, the City of Dreams and Soler, because Soler went ahead and opened basically a casino hotel. They didn't wait to complete their facilities. Whereas I think with City of Dreams, they're really going to be opening, from what I'm hearing, almost everything at the same time. So Soler didn't have the gaming converters. One thing about the Philippine market, it has a proven local market, as Paco has shown. It's a healthy market, but what Resorts World has basically created was the market has so much more potential. Because Paco before was only marketing purely to established gamblers. Because in essence, we were a monopoly for such a long time. We were adopting what was basically an old Macau model, which is gambling debts, quote unquote. And basically, the market has really shifted to what we call gaming as entertainment using the IR. And Resorts World has shown the Philippines how big the potential is. Soler is starting to realize the error of its ways, if I'm allowed to say that. And City of Dreams will not make that mistake. So, in a way, I kind of moved away from government because I saw City of Dreams.
Well, what about the next in line, Universal by Okada? As independent observers, how do you think they will do in terms of where they come in? You've had the benefit of hindsight. You've seen where Resort was positioned. You've seen Soler over-position themselves. You're coming smack bang in the middle, right? Okada's going to come in last after everybody, and he's going to be able to see what you've done. So,
technically, they're supposed to be opening before Resorts World. Technically.
So
not
before Resort World. Oh, okay, right. But if you're assuming Resort World opens yet another one there, all right? So, what do you think Okada is going to do?
Right now, they're still under construction. They're, I think, on their third or fourth floor of the construction. They still have some issues, constitutional issues that they need to answer. And I think until that is resolved, that's the only time that I think we could predict what they're going to do.
It's a huge project, you know. Resort World went up the low end, Soler went top end, you guys coming smack in the middle. As far as I can see, Okada wants a whole lot with this humongous project. Chris, you have any thoughts about
I agree, it's actually quite humongous. I've overflown the construction.
I've seen your photos, I know it's humongous.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll take one last question. Okay, one last question, anybody?
Yes.
Oh, right.
What has PACCOR done in the past few years to reduce the perception by the investment community of inherent conflicts of interest the way it operates? Of course, at one time it was monopoly. You are an alumnus from PACCOR, now in the private sector. In order to inspire financial investment in the gaming industry in the Philippines today, what steps have been taken or are about to be taken?
Well, apart from the potential privatization
Yes.
we're talking about, or are you referring to something else?
In terms of regulatory steps to assure that it is a truly clean industry worthy of investment capital from outside of Asia.
Well, what I can answer is from my own experience when I was there. I was head of marketing and head of VIP services, and we were considered operator departments. Hence, when we dealt with regulator departments, just like GLDD, which is the Gaming License Development Department, we weren't given access to information. In fact, we had because as part of the realm of what I had to do is I had to scope out competition because I was being rated on my performance against competition, and we had to source our own sources of information. We couldn't get it internally, and I think in a large part you will find that when you deal with PAGCOR now is when you deal with a regulatory side, they have a completely different set of I don't know what the term is, operating environment. It's very different from the operator side, and we actually do not interact. The only times we are in the same meeting together is basically in the executive committee meeting when we're talking about basically the company itself. But we do not actually have joint operations meetings.
So you're saying the process has already started. The process of splitting operations from regulation has already begun.
Nowhere is it more evident. There's a new policy launched. Basically, they've identified that if you're working for a regulatory department, you're subjected to the 1-year non-compete. You can't work in an IR. But if you're working for the operator department, basically, if you cannot seek clearance, you're subjected to 6-month suspension of your gaming employment license. Hence, you take a sabbatical for 6 months.
Okay, but to the gentleman's point, that is in the management level down, there is still a layer that sits across both, that has information on both, and their objectives and interests are still conflicted.
Correct. I think the answer to that is it's a work in progress. It's happening.
Well, I think, well, that's good that PAGCOR is doing it from their internal, trying to separate them. But at the end of the day, it's not really PAGCOR, it's a legislation matter that will resolve all this regulatory and operator mandate. As Chris mentioned earlier, it was mandated through Congress of what PAGCOR is actually going to do. So I think until that is resolved or being acted upon by our congressmen, that's only the time that PAGCOR can really operate as a regulator or operate as an operator.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'll finish off the session with just one very quick last question. We've heard figures being thrown around by people to be unnamed about the potential of Philippine market. I've heard 10 billion, I've heard 6 billion. I don't know where the 10 billion came from.